Hey, what's up, phone lovers, and welcome to the Mobile Roar Podcast for the week of June 27th, 2014, otherwise known as Google I/O Week. I'm Joe Fidua.
It's Google Week, Android Week. I'm Chris Chavez.
Yes, Google I/O, Android craziness, tons to talk about today. We'll be talking about pretty much only Google I/O stuff. So if you're into that, keep listening. We also have questions enabled, so feel free to shoot us a question about something if you want. But before we do get into that,
We have a little unfinished business.
yeah, I think this is the thing. I don't think we've ever been emailed or tweeted about something more than this.
That's true.
So two pronunciation things from last episode. John, as we have called him in the past, Legere. That is not his name. The correct pronunciation is John Ledger.
Ledger.
And we will do our best to say it correctly from now on.
Oh, man.
The other thing, GIF and GIF, we had a little debate about.
This is not up for debate still. This is...
We got some emails about this. Some people telling us that it's is a or wait, no, that is correct. It's not an abbreviation. It's 3 letters, stands for Graphics Interchange Format. The creator of this pronounces it GIF, but the phonetically correct way to pronounce it is GIF. So basically, there's no wrong way to say it, so we can just leave it at that.
It's still kind of, I don't know. The debate rages on. I don't think anyone will be satisfied in either camp.
Yes. But now that we've got that out of the way, holy crap, lots of stuff happened yesterday.
Yeah, there's a little shindig in at the Moscone Center in San Francisco.
Nearly 3 hours long.
People called it, what do they call it? They said it's Google's marathon keynote or whatever.
It really is, because I think even last year it was over 2 hours. It's insane.
I mean, there's so much stuff to talk about, really. It's like, how do you try to fit it all in? And I don't know. I think they kind of were in over their heads by trying to preview the next version of Android at the show. Normally, they don't do that till at the very end of the year. And by doing that, it was kind of like, holy crap, we have a ton of stuff to talk about.
And that is a perfect segue into the first thing, which is Android L.
Android L.
They did not reveal the dessert. I almost wonder if they're not going to give this version a dessert name.
No dessert and no version number, so people still don't know. I know there was a preview, the Android L developer preview, factory images went out, and everyone is just like, somebody please flash it and figure out what the version number is, because like Android fanboys, like, we need this. We need some kind of stability. We need, we need some kind of version number to attach it to. We can't just keep
calling it hilarious if the developer preview, you go to the about screen, and for the version number it just says like LOL or something.
4.LOL or L, I don't even know. L.L. That'd be awesome.
But yeah, Android L, I mean, there are some new features, but the big thing is just the design, which is departure from Holo or Hollow, and
it's not even just a departure. This is a complete overhaul of everything we've come to know about Android. Everything is different.
It kind of is. At first, I thought that, but the more I look at it, I can see the evolution from Hollow to this. It makes sense.
Yeah. It's been a slow progression. There's like Jelly Bean stuff, kind of added some white UI elements, and I mean, I was all for Hollow. When Ice Cream Sandwich came out, I liked it because the Tron look or whatever. Say what you will about it, but it was unified. Everything was using this Hollow look. Developers were updating their apps with this Hollow look, and you had like the light or dark theme, but everything kind of looked very minimal and just very, I guess, like you can call it Windows Phone or something, but I liked that. But then Jelly Bean started coming out, and they added the Google search bar was like an opaque white, and it had like this shadow underneath it, which was actually a clue to this whole new look that we're seeing now, the material design stuff. But slowly but surely, then KitKat had the animations when you said, "Okay, Google," and the little thing would like bloop, and the little cool animation would come out, and it would start listening. Yeah, that was awesome. And I remember seeing that on KitKat, and thinking, dude, that would be so cool if they could just freaking implement these cool animations system wide. But I just figured, it's Android. Like no one at Google cares about this stuff. Like they're not even worried about design. And then, sure enough, this year's Google I/O, the whole thing, it's all about design.
They're very worried about design.
Finally, though, finally, that's coolest part about it. I think is uh, they're finally. I guess it's like Android is maturing. It finally
Yeah.
feels like a complete OS now. Seeing all the apps unified, and then just the OS and all the cool animations and stuff that's going on. It feels like like an adult OS now. None of this like weird hacky mishmash of UI stuff. It looks good.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing from that I took away from the material design is, like you said, this is everywhere. This is phones. Why do I hear? Oh, what the heck? I heard you talking over me, and yet you weren't talking. It was like replaying. Um, what was I saying? Okay, the thing I like about it is that it's everywhere. So this is phone apps, this is tablet apps, this is the web, this is Google's iOS apps, and this is even Android TV. This is Android Auto. Basically, everywhere you see Android now, it kind of just adapts to whatever device and screen it's on, and that is crazy cool.
This is, I mean, it's something we've been talking about since, I mean, forever. When they first introduced Holo and they had their tablet UI, and then they got rid of the tablet UI and they just used this whole thing for whatever. They used, what was it? Not KitKat, Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean finally was supposed to unify all the different screen sizes, and it's like every single release they're trying to unify all these different, Android TVs and everywhere that you find Android these days, but nothing really did it as well as they're doing it now with the whole material design stuff. So that part I like, and finally, it just, I don't know, I feel like the future is bright. Like the Android TV looks awesome. It's not a stupid Google TV flop thing. It looks great. Android Wear on your smartwatch looks awesome, and then the stuff on the smartphones and tablets looks
Yeah.
freaking awesome. Like everything just looks so good, and it feels so cohesive and unified, and it's wonderful.
So you do. I think when we talked about this earlier, the kind of the quantum paper leak, you seem to be on the fence about the design, but you do like it now that you've seen more of it.
Yeah, I like it because of the animations. In my head, I was just seeing the quantum paper design and kind of. And there's still some stuff that sort of bothers me about the material design stuff, like these huge, thick header bars that are just completely wasting space. So you have your status bar, then you have this huge, thick colored bar underneath it that usually just has like one little word in the corner.
The
Kind of
action bar.
action bar, I guess, is what they call it. But that part still bothers me. But the colors, I think it's cool. They're all bright and they're all colorful, and it reminds me a lot of like the stuff that LG did with the LG G3's brand new UI. Something tells me that Google and LG's partnerships, they've been working so closely together. Maybe they're tipped off to like this whole new Android redesign a little ahead of time. But yeah, I like it. I like it mostly just because of the animations. But without those animations,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd like it as much. But everything is animated. You push something and it whoop, pops up and it's 3D-ish and it's so beautiful. I
Yeah,
love it.
it's kind of like how last week we were talking about the Kindle Fire phone, and
Mhm.
3D stuff kind of makes the phone seem alive. And I think that's the same for the material design. It's not quite as 3D, which I think is a very good thing that it's not, but it just feels so alive. Everything's moving, and when you touch something, something happens, and it's
Yeah.
just it's awesome.
It's so solid, and up until now, really, like the only one that was doing that was Apple. Apple with iOS and everything. I mean, I used iPhone from time to time to play games and whatnot, and you get notifications, and you have these crazy little note animations popping up, and all these apps. I'm just so surprised all the time. I'm pushing stuff, and like a lot of stuff is animated, and every time I see it, I'm just like, oh wow, that was fun. It was just like some silly little animation, but it makes the OS feel complete and so much more alive and fun to use. I mean, I'm excited to flash Android L into my Nexus 5, and I'm not going to stop playing with it. I'm just going to keep going. Like,
So some of the other stuff in Android L, besides the material design, the notifications got a lot better. So they show up on the lock screen now if you want, and if you're in like a full screen game or something, you can get a pop-up notification that you can take action on. What do you think about that stuff, Chris? I know you haven't you been really wanting like iOS style notifications on your lock screen.
the lock screen stuff I'm super hyped about because to me the most broken piece of software on Android was the lock screen. It was weird to use. It like showed widgets but only halfway, and you had to pull them down, and then to
Yeah.
unlock it you had to put them back up again and try to unlock. Horribly broken, horribly ugly and dumb, and I've never been a fan of that lock screen ever since it was introduced. But now it's it's showing notifications on there, and you can swipe them, and that's probably the coolest thing ever. And all these third-party apps that have been like starting to do this, it kind of sucks because I don't know what's going to happen to them. But I guess that's usually the tune with Android, I guess.
I've never really liked the third-party lock screens though. I hate it because you turn on your phone sometimes, and for like that split second, you see the stock one, and then all of a sudden the third-party one opens up.
Yeah, you have
bugs
to
me.
you have to disable it, and then there's all these weird hacky things that they do to even show
Yeah.
notifications. They're using like the notification list on their service, but that shows like way more than just your typical notification drawer would. So weird stuff would be popping up on there. It didn't group things correctly, and it's just always kind of broken and lame. But now it's finally happening. Someone out there was listening.
Another new feature of Android L is multitasking is a little bit better now. So it shows recent, I guess they call it. So for example, if you had a couple tabs open in Chrome and you hit the multitasking button, you wouldn't just see a card for Chrome, you would see a card for each one of your tabs. And it works like that for other apps too, depending on what you're doing. That I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, they have a little card interface and you flip through it and stuff. Um, I kind of like having like a grid when I press recent and then having a grid pop up and then I could see, and just quickly tap something rather than having to interact and scroll through stuff to try to get back to an app. But it doesn't bother me too much. It looks cool. The animations are really cool on it, and I like how the Chrome tabs are in there. But I
To
mean, if you know
me,
me,
this
I have like
yeah,
a
you have
million Chrome tabs open. It's gonna be horrible. It's my
To
nightmare.
me, I think the Chrome tabs thing is kind of a big deal because you can see in the future now web apps are going to start
Oh yeah.
more like real apps.
I mean, really, it almost feels that way now. Like, I mean, what Google's trying to do now is they're trying to like almost like appetize the web with a lot of stuff. So even regular websites, Google has their quantum paper or their material design guidelines for just regular old mobile websites, and if you open up Facebook and you look at the mobile web version and you look at the app, like they look very, very similar. So you can see how they're trying to, I guess, sort of like blur the lines between this, and we're kind of seeing that with even Chrome OS and stuff, and how they're blurring the lines between Android. I mean, it's running Android apps on Chrome, and it's so crazy and weird, and everything's unified, and you're not going to even really, it's hard to figure out, am I running like which kind of OS am I running? You won't even think about that anymore. It's just like everything looks the same. You're gonna open up Chrome and you have Android apps on your Chrome. You're gonna open up your Android phone and you're gonna have these weird Chrome apps or something showing up as like applications in the recents.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nutty and crazy.
The last thing I'll mention about Android L before we move on, they have a Project Volta, which is from the same people that did Project Butter, which was to
But
improve or to kill lag. But now they're trying to kill battery hog apps. So I welcome that.
oh gosh, yes. I mean, that's like the biggest complaint. And again, every time they have, a new release, KitKat was supposed to be the lightest version of Android yet, and because of that, it was supposed to, what do you call it? fixed battery life. People always kind of hope, I don't know what the heck Android's always doing, but it's just the battery
It's
life
the
is.
apps though. Like a KitKat is lightweight and it doesn't use as much battery, but other people can code apps really poorly, and that is what
Yeah.
kills battery.
It's an ever growing problem. It's happened. I mean,
Yeah.
people keep trying to throw more milliamps at things and, lower voltage processors, but really it's like, I feel like it was the OS needs to really do something about saving some of this battery life. But Project Volta, we'll see how much battery life we can get out of
Yeah.
our Nexus 5. I think I was getting like 11 hours, so we'll see.
Okay, so moving on to the next thing, Android Wear. We saw a little bit more of it. They demoed it on a G Watch on stage, and then we were able to get hands-on with the G Watch, the Gear Live, and the Moto 360. Um, the Gear Live and the G Watch were given away, so we actually like have those devices, the retail version. The 360 they were just showing like in demo mode, but it's pretty great. I mean, we didn't learn a ton of stuff that we didn't already know, but I'm liking the look of it.
Yeah, nothing really. I mean, there's not too much to Android Wear at the moment, so it's just, oh, here's some notifications. But um, again, just seeing it, being interacted with in person or live on camera and stuff, that's the coolest thing. I mean, they have I think Rob got the hands on with it, and just seeing the lady move around stuff, it almost felt like it's one of those, like someone green screened it and it was just showing all these crazy animations, and I couldn't believe it was like really happening on that little watch. But all this new material animations, just bloop, 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 all these things moving around
Especially
and sliding.
especially the 360 because
Yeah.
I just feel like there's no bezel on that thing, and the
Yeah.
screen is so bright that it looks fake.
Well, that's what I was saying. It looks fake. And then Motorola actually uploaded their own like hands-on with it. They're kind of showing it off, but even then, I'm like, oh my gosh, that doesn't look. It looks like on TVs or
Yeah,
TV
it's
shows
like
how they're like messing
yeah.
with something and it's green screened on or whatever. It doesn't look real. But after just seeing that stuff, I'm leaning a lot towards the Moto 360. Just seeing the no bezel. I mean, if you saw this like in a movie or like Mission Impossible, you'd be like, oh, that's impossible. There's no way we could make something like that. Like all those animations, no bezel. That's future talk. But somehow
We are in the
Motorola's
future right
doing it. Yeah, but I already bought the LG G Watch, and now after seeing the Moto 360 stuff, I'm sort of feeling like that maybe wasn't such the best decision.
now.
But
Oh yeah, I'm all in with the 360. No contest for me.
yeah, 360 looks super nice. There is a bezel though. It's at the
Oh
bottom.
yeah.
It's like this little thin, little black section at the bottom. So
And
it
they
kind of keeps it
explained that
warm.
that's basically, I mean, there's like sensors, and I think the mic is probably in there. I mean, they had to
They,
put that stuff somewhere.
hey, they always try to explain the bezel, man. HTC try to explain it. Everyone wants to explain the
But I
bezel.
mean, we're talking about like a millimeter
Yeah,
little
it's
thing
super
here.
tiny. Yeah, it's so small.
I
But
can forgive them for it. I mean,
yeah, not a big deal. The next version, Moto 362 or Moto what's after 900,
Moto 361.
the Moto 900 is gonna get rid of it. Watch, just you
Uh,
watch.
I think the coolest thing about Android Wear is that everything we've seen so far is working with apps that haven't done like anything extra. When people start actually implementing code for Wear to do extra things, then it's going to start getting crazy.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so friggin' sweet. But again, they keep it simple. I mean, even like in the Android Wear guidelines and all that stuff, like developers can only use, I think it was a total of 3 actions. So for every app notification or any whatever thing pops up, you can only have 3 different actions that you could do. Whether it's reply via voice, whether it's do something else or do something else. But they're Google's trying to purposely limit it so people don't try to get too crazy with it,
Well, I'm
draining
pretty sure
battery.
that is just I'm pretty sure that's a system-wide Android thing because in your notification shade, I don't think you can have more than three little actionable things, can you?
Oh, that's kind of true. Yeah, now that you mentioned it. Well, I've seen stuff that had like a thumbs up and then like skip forward and back. Well, I guess that's even then it's 3. skip forward, back, and then yeah,
Because I
maybe
think that, I
maybe
mean, that's really all any Android Wear card is just an Android notification.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool that there's very little that developers have to do to implement it. So I'm hyped. I think Lyft already made an app. Like everyone's updating their stuff for Android Wear already. If you go on the Google Play Store, you'll see all these
Yeah.
app updates. And
Well, I mean, yeah, you can friggin' buy the, I mean, you can buy the G Watch and the Gear Live right now. So
yeah,
yeah,
ships June 6th. I
yeah.
can't wait. I cannot wait.
So that's Android Wear, and they said the 360 is going to be coming out later this summer. And actually, the people that are at I/O have like a voucher for one of those too. So that's pretty neat.
Pretty darn sweet. They got
Yeah,
hooked up. Although I think it would have been better if they got something else, even if it was just like a phone or like the
yeah.
rumored HTC Volantis.
Right. I would have if I mean if I went, I would have rather got like one smartwatch and then something else because I'm not going to wear two smartwatches.
And yeah, it's a developer thing. So like, do you really need two of the same
I
OS
guess
or
they want everyone to have a
platform?
round and a square.
Yeah, yeah, they can do that stuff in
Whatevs.
SDK.
All right. So next thing, Android TV. They showed off, and it's basically a Roku with Android apps and games. I
Yep.
know.
Don't call it Google TV, even though it kind of is like a better redesigned Google TV.
Way better.
Um,
Yeah.
it's everything Google TV wasn't, but was supposed to be originally. So I don't know if they did some reshuffling at their Google TV department or their team or whatever, but it's polished again. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's
It's material design.
it looks useful too. That's probably the best part. Is like most of the time you're like, do I really need this on my TV? Is this really making my TV smarter or is it making it dumber? And I have an LG TV with Google TV on it, and I felt like it made the TV more unuser friendly than it was originally, and I absolutely hated it. I hate turning on my stupid TV and waiting for Android to boot up. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But with Android TV, we'll have to see how they do all that stuff. But it's cool. Like what was it? The movies and TV shows, all that stuff just shows up, and then after that, it shows you the services that you can watch that on. Like that's
Yep.
just so awesome, so awesome and
It
useful.
actually has the Play Store on it, which a lot of Android devices or set-top boxes don't, but this one does. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's so much more lightweight than Google TV. It's just, hey, here's some streaming apps, here's some games. That's all you need.
and it's all voice activated stuff. And with Google TV, you had to have a cursor, and even there was even some stuff you had to like grab the cursor and scroll thing. It was so clunky and horrible. But this is awesome, and people are gonna start making games for it, and I think that's gonna be a huge draw for the platform. That's gonna be so awesome is to be able to play little controller games or whatever have you.
Yeah, they did have a controller with it too, so that's
Yeah,
neat.
so sick. So I can't wait.
And that, I mean, this is running Android L, like we were saying. So, I mean,
Yeah.
all these things are running the same operating system, and it just responds to whatever it needs to do.
And well, I mean, obviously, it seems like these hardware partners, they're jumping on the bandwagon too. They're like whatever. Just I guess it's a testament to how awesome Android TV looks. All these people that were originally burned by Google TV, um, they're still they're convinced Android TV is helping them, I guess, see I forget what I'm trying to say, but um, it's enticing, I suppose. And they announced like there's going to be a bunch of TVs. I thought maybe people are saying that Sony was not going to be doing Android TV stuff, and LG got burned by Google TV, so they're not doing it anymore. But we saw the hardware partners, and there was a ton of stuff, a ton of different, like pretty much everyone that makes a good TV. I think aside from LG was up there. So we're going to be seeing a ton of TVs with Android TV baked in. Hyped.
Yeah, and they didn't forget the Chromecast either. They announced some new features for that, such as you can mirror your Android device on your TV now, which is pretty sick.
Finally, that's cool. I think the best part is that you can also they're using that authenticator service, whatever, to know when like a device is nearby and know that you're nearby another device with another device. So you don't have to actually connect to Wi-Fi to Chromecast stuff anymore. Like direct from your phone to the Chromecast. I think
Yeah.
that's probably the coolest thing because now when people come over, you don't have to be like, hey man, what's your password? And I'm like, dude, it's really like every single time I'm like, dude, it's so complicated. I'm gonna have to like
So
send it
like
to you on
20
Hangouts or something.
characters long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. But now it's yeah, that's it's so much more user friendly and awesome. And I honestly thought Chromecast was gonna be left out of this whole marathon announcement keynote.
Yeah, I mean, Chromecast, it's basically like Android TV Lite.
Yeah, and
It's Android TV without the interface, really.
and one of Google's first successes, like one of their first successful products. It
Hmm.
sells like hotcakes. It's a nice cheap price, and it's cool to see them devoting some time and giving it some TLC still.
All right, moving on. We're mowing through this list. Another thing running Android L is your car, kind of. Android Auto. Um,
Finally,
yeah.
finally,
This is,
so
I
cool.
mean, what do they call it? The Open Automotive Alliance or something?
Yeah, Google's been working with the Open Automotive Alliance forever, and it's like hundreds or 45 or so, I can't remember how many, a lot of like the top leading automotive makers in the world. But they've all joined up with the Automotive Alliance a long time ago, and we haven't really seen anything come of it. But this is awesome. I mean, it's not too big a deal because really it's just you plug in your Android phone, and I'm not sure if it's going to use Mirrorcast or what they're going to do to do it, but it mirrors your display on your in-dash unit. So if you have a navigation unit, whatever you have in
Yeah.
there,
I mean,
boop,
it
all your
doesn't
Android stuff
really,
pops up.
I wouldn't call it mirroring though, because like we said, the Android L adapts to whatever it needs to be. So while technically it's mirroring it, it looks absolutely completely different because it's the car interface basically.
Yeah, once that it recognizes that, oh, you're plugged into a car, it switches into like a car mode. So only gives you three main functions that you can do on this bottom little dock area, and that's just like make calls, navigation, and
Yeah, there's four buttons. It's navigation, phone, music, and then like a car stats like gas levels and stuff like that.
yeah,
It's
so
all
cool.
voice
But I
enabled,
mean,
of course.
yeah, it's Android. It's everything that you have come to love about Android on your phone, and it's just on your little screen there. So
It
awesome.
looks, I mean, we've seen Apple CarPlay and like, you've seen other car companies, they try to make their little interfaces. This by far, I think, looks the best and the easiest to use. Like, I think even an older person could get into a
Oh
car
yeah, yeah,
really.
for sure. For sure. I had a friend once, and he had a Scion, and he had some little boop boop like in-dash unit that pops up and stuff, and he was always telling me how like, oh, this is why I don't get Android, man. And he would plug in his iPhone, and then it would just like some stuff would work, and it had this weird clunky interface that you could touch, and it was kind of weird and clunky and dumb. But this is like smooth. You got the animations, you got all the Google Voice search stuff. I mean, it's great. It's Android on your car without car manufacturers needing to put Android in their car. You don't have to worry about updates like, oh, if a car manufacturer adds Android, I'm never going to see an update to Google Maps. It's going to be stuck at whatever version this car manufacturer ships with. But just having everything on your phone already, all the normal updates, all the stuff, all this evolution that you'll get, and it's only going to keep getting better, and that's cool. And this is I think really Google's hardest or biggest problem is going to be showing this off to the world. I mean, like we saw it, I think we're all kind of convinced and think it's great, but somehow getting the rest of the world on board is going to be, I think, their biggest hurdle.
And I think that is where the material design and we didn't mention, but they Android itself has a new logo now. It seems even Google is rebranding Android itself, and I think that
It's
will play a big part in that because a lot of people hear Android and they say, oh, it's that thing that the nerds
uh,
use and
that
whatever.
clunky virus stuff. But yeah, this gives it an actual identity. It gives it, a personality. It makes it feel alive. And now people will know, like, wow, this is really cool. Like all the stuff my phone's doing. This is an Android. I got that Android. A droid. Like it's great. It's great. And I just wonder how many, what the like HTC and LG, what they're going to do with all their manufacturer UIs and how drastically different it's going to look and how they're going to be able to, I guess, customize it while still doing the whole material thing, or even if they'll do the material thing and what kind of animations they're going to use. It's crazy, but we'll
Yeah,
worry
I
about that
mean,
later, I guess.
they'll probably keep doing what they're doing, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's talk about Android One. This kind of got glossed over, I feel like. It happened. I think it was the very first thing they talked about.
Yep.
It's basically they're trying to make Android more readily available to countries that aren't fully adopting smartphones yet.
Yep. The emerging markets segment. They were showing off some phone by I forget who the manufacturer was. They had like a fist for their logo or
Yeah, it's like
something.
some manufacturer from India, I think.
Yeah, and they had some $99 phone or under $99 phone that had just pretty subpar specs, but Google said that they're working. These are almost like it's pretty much what we've heard of Android Silver. I mean, these are essentially like Google Play Edition devices almost. So direct updates from Google. So even though you have a crappy phone, at least you know it's going to be supported with Android updates and all these new apps and stuff, which is really cool. And super cheap hardware. It sounds
Yeah.
great, and to me, I think it's just maybe um, a hint of what's to come with Android Silver later on.
Yeah, I still think Android Silver is going to be for high-end devices.
Hmm.
Um, I think that will be the actual thing that they call it. And this was called Android One, and I think later they'll announce Android Silver. But I mean, you might be thinking, well, what does Google have to do to make it available for cheap phones? Because Android's already free. But this is basically just about like super optimizing it for low specs,
Hmm.
which is cool. And that, I
And
mean, honestly, that will even make high-end phones run better too.
yeah, and I mean everyone. There's tons. I go out all the time and I see. I'm always looking at people's smartphones, when they're texting or doing whatever. And I notice how many people have these crappy old phones. I'm talking like, and not even that old, just like the lowest of the low end Alcatel somethings, and I'm just like, I feel bad because they're
Hey,
running
I
a
got
version.
this for $1 when it was on sale.
They're running like Ice Cream Sandwich, which is super old, and I just like, dude, you'll never see a software update ever. Like, you'll be lucky to get off Ice Cream Sandwich. And even right now, I pulled out my girlfriend broke her G2, and I had to give her an LG Intuition, or I forget what it's called, but
What the heck?
um, and even that's running Ice Cream Sandwich, and it's a lower end, mid range, low end phone, but even that's never going to see an update, a firmware update to any of these new versions. But um, this whole Android One program, that's awesome. You can have a low end phone and get all these cool software updates. That's just like the
I mean,
coolest.
that's basically what Nokia's been trying to do with Android, and now Google is gonna try to
Yeah,
do it themselves.
Nokia, and it's almost the one when I heard the announcement, I was kind of like, well, what about the Moto X, the Moto G, and the Moto E? The Moto E is like a sub $100 phone, but um, I don't know why. I feel like Google's kind of distancing themselves from Motorola throughout all this. Like, that they really should have been. The Moto E launches all over the world, and the Moto G is launching all over the world, and it's just kind of weird that they kind of like, we're not gonna really talk about that stuff, and that
Well,
runs almost a stock Android experience.
you have to remember in a lot of these countries, like India, there's a lot of brand loyalty to the companies that are headquartered there.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Um,
true. Yeah.
so they might, I mean, they would love to buy a phone from a local company other than Motorola or something. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's good to have. It's just good to have more partners.
For sure.
I think did we skip anything? Did we miss anything?
I think that
There
was.
was Google Fit, which was kind of a short thing they mentioned at the end of the keynote, and that is basically just something that's gonna developers can use it and it'll tie into their apps. So you could, for example, if like Adidas and Runkeep or whatever use it, you can have all of your fitness information available in one spot. And in the Android Wear Android app, there's like a section for Google Fit. It shows you how many steps you've had, stuff like that. But that
Yeah.
they didn't really make too big of a deal out of that. Um, Anything else?
Um, I think that was it. I think we literally covered everything there
Yeah.
is to talk about with the new all the new stuff. So still don't know what Android L is going to be called, but
I kind of have a hunch, but I just think this would be too crazy that they're gonna leave it at Android L.
I was thinking that at first too. Like maybe they're like this is a whole new maturing. It's a rebirth of Android. It's like
Right.
they're not going to go with all that kitty naming scheme anymore. This is like completely different now. But they could. I wouldn't be surprised. But everyone's expecting them to attach some sort of dessert or sweets to it.
Lollipop seems to be the leading contender.
Yeah, lollipop makes the most sense. A lot of people are saying licorice because it's not so candy and kitty, and it doesn't. It's more mature candy, or just like
Oh, okay.
a candy for adults. Um,
So what's W gonna be Werther's original?
and then and then there's what was it? If they decide to do a whole other licensing agreement or something like that with the candy company Lemonheads
Yeah,
or
I put a poll up on Fandroid, Lollipop or Lemonhead, and seemed a lot of people went with Lollipop.
yeah, it's generic, but I think it fits the Android logo really well though, and
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you could see
You can
that.
see a statue of it,
Yeah,
in your
right
head.
now, like right now, like I want someone just to go out there and just put it up there and force Google to use it because it's so easy. But we'll see.
So to kind of replace our wins and fails this week, since we're just going to do all IO, I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite thing from IO, and maybe something that you were disappointed about?
Um, my favorite thing is it's material design and the animations because it's probably not on anyone's big list of whenever you see a new UI and everyone was so content with ice cream sandwich, everyone was so content with jelly bean, and nobody could ever think outside like, well, what if we reinvented this and that? And for me, it's always been about animations. It's the one thing I love about iOS. And even like on Windows Phone stuff, they have a lot of cool animations and things that pop up and move around, all cool. I love that shiznit a lot, and the fact that they're finally bringing it to Android and they're finally, getting serious about design. That's gonna be my biggest win. My fail is probably gonna be the fact that there was nothing, not even a smidgen, anything about Google Glass. And I don't know if you remember, but last year, I think the last 2 years or something, that we kind of saw not Android TV, Google TV.
Hold on, you like cut out for a while there. What were you what's the thing
Oh,
you're disappointed about?
disappointed about is Google TV, or
Okay.
not not Google TV, Google Glass, because
Okay.
there was no mention of it during the keynote. And if we saw like the previous couple of years when Google stopped mentioning Google TV altogether and was kind of, oh, it's its own little thing. We're not really worrying about it right now. We're not going to talk about it in keynotes and all this stuff. Uh, it eventually just ended up dying. And the fact that there was really nothing about Google Glass at the keynote is a little bit alarming. And it makes me wonder, more than anything, it makes me wonder how, I guess, segregated or separate this team is from the rest of the Android team. And I mean, I know it's the Google. That's kind of one of the problems Google has, is that all their teams are on different release schedules. They're working on their own things. You have the Hangouts team, you have the Gmail team, you have all these different people. And with Google Glass, I feel like maybe they're like on a completely separate side of Mountain View, just somewhere completely different, just working on Google Glass. But um, it's a little bit alarming. And I mean, I would expect even at the very least, like, oh, we're bringing Android L to Google Glass soon too. But nope, we barely got KitKat. The OS is buggy, and it doesn't use Android Wear, even though it should, because it's a wearable. It's a wearable on your head, and the fact that it doesn't use
Right.
Android Wear, it just blows my mind. I don't know what these guys are doing, but Um, it's alarming to say the least, I guess.
And they didn't mention Google Plus either.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they really didn't mention, but like when it comes to their
Those are
products,
three
like
big things.
yeah, that's like their in-house. This is like their main things that they usually talk about all the time, and made a big hoopla over Google Glass last year, and it's just
Yeah.
completely absent from the keynote. It's kind of weird, a little bit weird.
All right. I think my favorite thing is gonna be Android Wear, and I know we didn't really learn a lot of new stuff about it, but for me, I don't know. I feel like I haven't been excited about something in a long time in terms of like phones and tablets and stuff.
New products.
But yeah, these watches and especially the Moto 360 just they have me really excited for some reason. I really like it. I wanted some kind of gadget to wear on my wrist for a while now. Like I wanted to get a Fitbit, but then they got recalled, and so
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just excited to get something like that.
yeah,
Um,
it's new stuff.
yeah, new stuff is good. And then I wouldn't even say disappointed, really. I guess surprised. Another thing about the smartwatch is the Gear Live and the G Watch. The pricing surprised me a little bit because I was under the impression that the G Watch was going to be under $200 because it's basically just like a bare bones smartwatch. But then the G Watch was 230, and then the Gear Live comes out of nowhere, and that's priced at 199, which just like really confused me. So now I'm really curious about what the 360 is going to cost.
A lot. I'll put money on it right now. I know, like we've had some debate or talk about this in our private chats and whatnot, but if it's below 299, like I will do something crazy. I don't even know.
I think it. That's where I think it will be. I think it will be 299.
I think, and here this is my. You can mark it down right now. It's gonna be $349. 349.99.
The only thing that kind of holds me down on the price is there was that Motorola contest that had the 250, and I know that could mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't see it going over 300. But I don't think it's going to be as low as 250. If it's 250, that's an insta buy.
The thing is okay. This is what kind of Motorola is gearing it as, right? It's like, oh, it's not just a circle version of the Android, the LG G Watch or the Samsung stuff. This is their premium,
Right.
like a electronic Rolex almost of like smartwatches. They're gearing for like this premium price point. So I mean, you're gonna, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was 399, but I'm guessing probably like 350, 349.99. I would put money
Yeah.
on
I
it
mean,
because
the G Watch is all plastic. The Gear Live is pretty much all plastic. I'm pretty sure. The 360 is a metal, like body, and then the bands are leather. So I mean,
yeah,
that
that
stuff
that
costs
alone,
more.
organic leather. It's probably organic. I mean,
Uh,
it's gonna drive the price up for sure. But you can just kind of see where they're kind of like marketing it
right.
as like G Watch is like, oh, it's a kid's watch for everybody. It's square, whatever. And then the 360 is like, dude, look at this, awesome. It's got stainless. They always like emphasize the materials, stainless steel bands. It's got no bezels. It's wirelessly charging. I mean, all this crazy stuff. I'm telling you, you're gonna be really disappointed if you're expecting anything under 299. I think what was it? Edgar was saying 250. No
Yeah, he was
way.
saying 250 today, and I'm just like, I know that's what
Ooh.
the contest said, but there's no way that the
Yeah.
360 is only $20 better than the G Watch.
Not a chance.
If it costs 250, they will be out of stock in
Let
like
me
less than a minute.
let me just remind everybody of the whole Moto X fiasco from last
Oh,
year.
that's a good point.
Everyone was like, "Oh, it's a low-end phone." Yeah, dude, it's probably gonna be maybe like what, 300 tops, 350, and then Motorola came out and they're like $700. Everyone was just like, heads exploded, like
That is a
what?
really good point. That's a really good point.
And yeah, just remember, never forget the Moto X,
Yeah, I'm not
$700.
expecting anything less than 300. But I think that's gonna wrap things up. It was an eventful day for sure.
For Google I/O, there's still tons of more stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
Rob
there
got
is.
his.
I
We have
mean,
a couple ground
today
troops.
I won't get into it, but today there's been some cool things like they powered on a Project Ara device for the first time.
Didn't get past
L
the boot screen.
didn't get past the boot screen though, but I mean, just the fact that the thing
Oh
turned
yeah.
on is pretty neat. And then I guess LG is going to be releasing a Project Tango tablet next year. So it's like all these crazy things that it's like, oh, what's Google doing? This is silly. And now all of a sudden, oh, it's actually working and it's real and they're going to sell it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're doing at Google, man. Buying robots, doing all this craziness, but
Oh,
it,
that's something we didn't talk about.
oh,
Protester.
the protester stuff. Yeah, so I guess we could talk about that briefly. But during the keynote, like some lady gets up, and I read the whole piece on The Verge or whatever, but apparently she's a teacher and she's being kicked out of her house and all this stuff. But anyways, she got a ticket to Google I/O, sat in the very front, and during the thing, she just got up and was screaming all this stuff about Google being evil, yada yada
Evicting her and
yada.
stuff.
Yeah, it's just like this whole, I guess, like revolution or revolt that's going on in San Francisco, and people are getting all pissed off at all these tech companies that are coming
Yeah.
into San Francisco and raising up rent prices. Apparently,
Silicon Valley, yeah.
yeah, like the average rent out there is $3,500, which is mind blowing. That's someone's mortgage right there. But so yeah, we've seen it with the Google Glass lady who just goes into bars and people are trying to beat her up and screaming out, "You're ruining this city!" all this all this madness. But there was protests outside.
The second protester I thought was a lot funnier.
I didn't see what happened. He ran in through the back or something weird.
I think he had a seat too, and he stood up towards the end and he started shouting, "Quote: You all work for a totalitarian company who is creating killer robots."
That see, like this teacher lady, I get that. All right, like she's getting kicked out. She's got kids, rent prices. I understand. I get it. I'm a low class or low whatever. I understand. But this dude, killer robots and all this stuff. Like we were laughing about it. I know you were saying like that's not too far fetched, but I
Well,
mean,
yeah. Here's my thing, just to explain. Google's not making killer robots. I absolutely do not believe that. But my thing is, if you look at pretty much all companies, tech companies, the only company that you can make a sort of far stretch, close stretch, whatever, to this is Google. They
oh
own
yeah.
these robot, the Boston Dynamics robots. They bought an artificial intelligence company. I mean, they have all the tools to make Skynet real.
Literal T1000s. I mean, you can't even if you've seen their little dogs, their what is it, Big Dog.
Yeah.
You can't even kick that guy over. Terminator, you can walk up and push him over, and it's like, oh, shooting up in the air. These big dogs will just like what, and just come at you and shoot a missile up your butt. I don't know. It's pretty scary.
And
If you think
someone
about it.
tweeted at me yesterday, I thought, which was a really good point, and that is, it's all this stuff is fine now with the CEO they have now,
Yeah.
but what's going to happen down the line when they have new people in power and they have all this stuff at their
Yeah.
disposal? That's what you should really be worrying about, because the
I
people
mean,
that are in there now don't seem to be bad dudes, but
there's an old saying. What is it? Something about like the road to something or is path with good intentions. I forget. My grandma used to always tell me this, but bad things happen with good intentions. And although Google has these awesome intentions now to make our lives easier and greater, the government could f everything up if they start, I don't know, trying to make robots too or so. I mean, it's pretty scary. And sometimes I use it to scare my sister and my mom and like, oh, they're making it's the Book of Revelation. It's coming. It's happening, and they're freaking out. It's wonderful.
Yeah, so I think we'll close now, but a video recommendation. I don't know if you've seen this either, but The Verge did actually like an story about this a day before I/O. They made a video, and it's like kind of a parody, and it's called
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, it's what is it called? Like how Google accidentally created Skynet or something, and
Yep.
everyone should go watch it because it's pretty awesome.
It's cool. It's like a fiction
Yeah.
piece or whatever. But it was really funny because I mean, it makes sense. Someone could turn this into a Hollywood blockbuster, easy.
All right, so you can get in touch with us at our email address, podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and in the Windows Phone store. Chris is on Twitter at GamerCore. Kevin, who will be back next week, is at You Don't Know Kev. And I am at Tall Schmo. And we will see you guys again next week. Later.